name is Dev Randhawa, Chairman, CEO, and founder of F3 Uranium.
Dev, good to see you. Welcome to London.
Good to be here.
Nice sunny day in London.
That's
a change.
There's an anomaly.
I know. Hey, look, WNA, World Nuclear Association Symposium is busy as heck down there.
Yeah. And and it was a good vibe. Like the last few days of chatting with people, it's a perfect storm. But obviously, to have Microsoft at part of WNA, that should send a signal to people that
Newest member.
The newest member, yeah. Pretty excited.
Not just here, their newest member. But what should that signal to people?
Well, it says that it's, we've been a bit like John the Baptist in the wild for many years. I've been doing this for 31 years. But to see a household name who has got so much capital, they can move very quickly, and they see the storm, which is whoever wins the race to have more scalable green energy has a better chance of winning the AI wars. But they're not the only one. Whether it's Amazon, which has donated $500 million to help with SMRs, or signing deals along the entire supply chain. They want to be part of the SMRs, they want to be part of buying your power. Then you've also got Meta. So you've got household, big, large, high-tech company. I think someone said NVIDIA has got the market cap of the entire London Stock Exchange combined. So the big players are saying, this is where we're going to get our energy if we want to be competitive with the Chinese. We're using it with AI and et cetera. These data centers, that'll be the key.
So that's just the data. That's just the tech guys, right? Governments too, moving at breakneck speed compared to what they normally do. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all relative. But the money seems to be there from them as well.
There is, and because they're realizing that they want to be part of what's happening, and like they're realizing that what's going to happen to all these jobs. I don't know if you saw some of the numbers. When people used to come out of in the Silicon Valley, kids were getting jobs 100, 120,000 right away.
Yeah.
But now AI is doing some of those jobs. So there's not that plethora of jobs sitting out there because AI is, supplanting a lot of lawyers, accountants, and so what's going to happen? And so you're going to be a part of the solution or left behind.
Yeah. Well, I think it's magnificent in terms of governments, big tech, and the utilities also perhaps waking up to some of the chat. We had Steve Roman in slightly earlier, and he was talking about some of the US utilities' attitude towards certainly their project and accessing that, and maybe a little bit of pressure coming on from the US government to get their act together. Yeah. Do you think the utilities are going to finally start moving? I've been talking about this with you for like 5 years, man.
Well, yeah, I think the utilities, they're not entrepreneurs. And for whatever reason, they haven't done much contracting. Someone from Cameco, Rachel Cameco, said that between now and 2035, 3.5 billion pounds of uranium are not contracted. But we do have slow summers. This is a seasonal business. The WNA typically is the kickoff for contracting. So this week they're all going to be running around chasing each other downstairs. But next week, I think you'll start to see some contracts. And I think Campbell's excited. There's no doubt about it that even the WA numbers they put out, that were the cutoff was June for the report that's coming out. Since then, every company's revised it downward.
Yeah.
So it's not even, so their lowest projection, we need to look higher than that. I don't think they're counting in, like you say, big tech government involvement.
Well, I think the other side of the coin there, as you just mentioned, is how the companies are performing themselves. We've seen a bunch of, let's say, troubles with some US projects. We've seen troubles in Africa. We've seen it kind of across the world. So people aren't going to be producing as much as they say they are initially. That will have a knock-on effect. Yeah. It should make the utilities wake up a little bit. We'll see if it does. But I've been saying this for a long time. It's a hard business technically to solve.
I think the cost side. Look, when we all go out buy groceries, go for dinner and have a pint of beer, look at the price. Well, don't tell me that doesn't translate into, that's why I think a lot of the utilities in the US are struggling with cost, right? And some people aren't even turning on, like every, I don't know, any group that's met. Now, obviously some of the guys are doing better now, but I don't think we've really got a grasp on the true cost
Yeah, I agree.
especially in the U.S. What's it really going to cost to get a pound of ISR out of the ground? Because
Yeah.
underground's not happened there, in my opinion, for some time in a bigger way. But the ISR folks are struggling with costs.
Yeah.
And in Kazakhstan, they struggle with sulfuric acid. And, Paladin had their issues with the algae in Namibia. So nobody's reaching their goals like they thought.
Yeah.
Hopefully in Canada we'll get our,
Yeah.
Lee and the next gen guys can get their permits, or same thing with David and Denison. Hopefully they
Yeah.
will get the permits and we can move it along.
Right, so what we're saying there in terms of production guidance coming down across the board is that's good news. Scarcity is good news.
Yeah.
Grade is also good news.
It's everything.
Tell us about some of the, we've been looking at some of the grades coming out on your announcements recently. You're starting to understand the system better, it looks like.
Yeah. Well, what happened was when I spoke to you, we were very focused. We were looking around, but we had the JR zone, and obviously at Christmas time we put out, I think it was 50% uranium for 5 meters, which is insane numbers. And I put that in perspective. Namibia and other places 0.01 or 0.1 uranium. We're talking 50%. So the grades in the Athabasca will always be the best. It's hard to find it because the stuff is so deep, and you need more than geology, you need great geophysics, and that's why I believe we've been the most successful team in history, because Sam and Ray come from the geophysics side. Ross was there earlier in the F1. F3 is there because of F1 and F2, and we've learned a lot through that. But yeah, so we were working the JR zone. Then we took a shot at another area, the Broach property, and we've discovered what's called a Tetra Zone. Tetra, because it's our fourth discovery. And it's 12 kilometers from NextGen and Paladin, and on strike, as you would say, but the conductor we're looking at is going south. It is, from both ends of it, we've tested it, and we've got numbers of 0.4% on each end. And we've found one little pearl so far, high grade, but we have to find more pearls. Most, if you look at Arrow, you look at Triple R, they're all a series of pearls on a necklace. Right? So we've got to find more pearls. We have enough money to do it. We have the right technical team, but we have to find the pearls. That's what will drive the spot price as well. But we don't control that. We've learned long ago, 30 years ago, don't count on the spot price, manage the money very well, and hopefully we find some more pearls. So it's really now, F3 is about Tetra, it's about finding more pearls on this.
Okay, well, let's talk about what you've learned along the way. Okay, uranium F1, F2, F3, we'll call them, right? So F1, how is that constructed, and how does that influence what you do in F3? And F2, how is that constructed, and how does that influence what you do in F3?
Well, they're very different deposits. It's kind of funny. I mean, Waterbury is an underground, is at the unconformity. That's an unconformity deposit. Triple R is a basement deposit. They're under lakes. This one we're not under a lake, but so I think we've learned how to look at how to find uranium at the where there always all uranium comes from conductors. But the question is it going to be is it in a basement or at a sandstone? So we're well aware of both models. This one again is basement hosted. You have to remember that we were talking about it yesterday, that there would be no Arrow, no Triple R if someone doesn't fly an airplane treetops, find the boulders that leads to this. These deposits break the old model that we used to say had to be on the east. We're on the west. You have to be in the basin. We're not in the basin. And finally, we don't need to be at the unconformity, because that was in everybody's head. So yeah, our guys broke the model and how they found it, and now they continue to try different crazy things like we did. So they've learned a lot along the way, but it's still, you're still looking, it's deep, and you still got to be creative, and that's what we're trying to do.
So what exactly have you got at Tetra? You found one sort of pearl, as you're calling it. So you've got these 0.4 at the edges, right? So you know where the edge is.
Right.
So what you're saying or suggesting is that you'll find more of these pearls somewhere between those edges.
That's the goal, yeah.
How deep are we talking?
300 to 400. This one, the JR zone was about 200. So it's pretty shallow still.
Yeah.
They're shallow, high grade. What we're doing is every 200 meters, we're doing ground geophysics every 200 meters. for this whole geophysics program is 300,000, which is the cost of one hole. So we want to be more careful about where we find it. And so once we get, the whole idea is vectoring in, you know, where can we find, where's the real mother? In fact, this is bigger than when we first started at Triple R in terms of initial, you know. In fact, we believe now this conductor keeps going. So we know we found 0.4 and we got this one little necklace. The question is how many more necklaces, how many pearls on this necklace?
Yeah, okay. And so what is the process in an environment like this? Okay, we've talked about positive environment in terms of, looks like money's coming in, big money coming in, but that seems to be downstream at the moment. That's the focus.
Right. Yeah.
At some point, people are going to be looking back upstream, going, well, where's all this stuff? Where's these pounds for us to convert and enrich and do, etc. So do you see a scenario where any of these guys, these bigger, whether it be tech guys, start looking upstream anytime soon, or do you guys just need to survive till that moment?
I think it's happening both ends. For example, there are companies like Amir UEC says he's new processing.
Yeah, I saw.
So he's going back this way. Are they going to come downstream? I think so. If you look back at the history of uranium, there was a time where oil companies were helping you drill.
Yeah.
So will that happen? I hope so, but we don't need them.
Yeah.
There's lots of capital. If you're a good management team, okay, you will find money. If you got a history of it, F1, we drilled in Waterbury, hit next to Hathor, sold that to Denison. F2, which is FCU, sold to Paladin for $1 billion. So our team has got a history. If you're a team with a track record, you can raise money.
Okay.
So, but it would be lovely, of course, if Microsoft was to announce a deal with, you know, NextGen or something like that, and so we're going to help you put it in production. That would be lovely.
I think that would ripple through the organisation, this sector for sure.
That's a note to you, Lee.
Right. Okay. Next challenge. Maybe they sponsor an F1 car together. Be friends that way. So just looking at the sector as a whole, you know, my question earlier was really say, look, for you guys, you got to preserve money or spend money appropriately and not, hope that things will kind of pan out. So chasing these pearls, it costs money.
Yes, and that's why we stopped drilling for a month.
Okay.
Because this is unique.
That's where I was going.
Because what happened was this is mudstone that's making it difficult for us to know exactly where the conductor is. Yeah. Because they look for cross faults, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why we have said, okay, let's vector in, you know, et cetera. And you have to adjust to the times. It was a very tough last 12 months for every junior.
Yeah.
As in most situations, like in gold's at 3,500, but it's taking gold to get to 3,500 for start to see it influence in small juniors.
Money,
it slowly trickles down.
Yeah.
In the gold, the big ones moved, and now the smaller ones are. And I think the same thing will happen here. I look at the other guys with us, well, you know, our competitors, but we're all in the same basket. We're waiting for that money to trickle down.
Right. That's all I'm asking, because I'm trying to work out whether it plays out differently than, say, gold, because the producers are making it like bandits, and even the near-term developers are doing quite well. Yeah. But will uranium follow a different path? Will it have different drivers? Because that's all I've heard for the last 5-6 years. Oh, we're different. Yeah. But you're saying not really.
I don't think so, because I think investors are investors, whether in gold and that, and they're going to go, the big money has to go to the big ones, because these fund managers got a lot of money and they want to employ 100 million. Well, they can't put it into juniors. Has to go into the bigger players, you know, the UECs and NextGens. They're bigger players. Yeah. And so once people have made money there, then they go, what's next? Okay, then it trickles down. That's my view. But at the end of the day, you can't count on any of that. We have to make sure we spend our money wisely. We got to find more pearls.
Well, that's what I'm getting at with you, which is the, you know, what next? You're being asked the what next question. Yeah. Where's the next one? Where's the next one? You got to do it because you got to demonstrate that scale. And but you've also got to be a good controller of the spend, right? So your view at the moment is, let's not get crazy just yet. We've got all the signs are there. Yeah. We're in the right game.
Right.
We picked the right game to be in. Yeah. But we just got to make sure we're still around, you know, when the game starts. Yeah. Okay, fine. Understood.
You know, like in surfing, I've done very little and I'm very poor at it. But the whole thing is, you can see that once you start to see that wave coming, you got to start moving. And right now, it's definitely coming.
Yeah.
Like all of us were frustrated that spot price hasn't. But even I think Citibank put a report out this week that they expect uranium past 100 by the end of this year. So big groups are saying it's going over 100. And if it goes over 100, all the boats will be lifted. And so, meanwhile, you got to be shrewd with the money, and that's what I said. We've said, okay, let's narrow in, and then go to the market and raise money when that's time. But really, like I said, if AI is what we think it's going to, which obviously is shaping up, you need energy. That's why the Amazon, Microsoft, everybody is saying, okay, how do we make sure we have enough energy?
Yeah.
And so the implications are, but they want energy that's baseload and scalable. Meaning, if you build an SMR, that can have one SMR can run 700,000 homes. So, or a data center. That's how much energy they need. So they can scale them. And there's only one energy in the world that's clean and scalable, baseload nuclear.
Okay, so we're in the right game. Just coming back to what you said earlier in terms of vectoring in, and you kind of got this mud, which is, made it hard to do that, and you paused the drilling. What exactly were you doing in terms of? And did you solve for that problem?
Yeah, we have. That's exactly why when we, every deposit has its own, issues or creative solutions you must find, and this one, our first hole. Man, massive. It was amazing. But now we got to find more of them. So that's why Ray and Sam are stepping back and going, okay, if we can't use normal system, our normal analysis, let's step back and evaluate this. It's conductive, but it's a mudstone layer.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with it? And but it's a huge system, and I know that, like and I know by nature geologists are very dreamers, but if you talk to our technical team, they're saying, isn't that a question of if, it's when we find more pearls on this huge necklace.
Right, okay, and your job is to go and raise money and to help them do that.
And hopefully get a decent price.
but that's the point, that's where it's getting to, which is obviously, all stocks have been like hammers come off this year. We're sitting at low 70s on the spot, which usually is a 70, driver 70, for everyone.
Exactly. When we were, like, example, when we raised money last year, we raised 15 million.
Yeah.
This last year we raised 6 million.
Yeah.
We said, why? You got to be careful how much you diluting our present shareholders.
But it's, and if I look at the amount of players out there who have not even made a discovery yet, okay, there's a lot. More have not than have. And what do they do?
David Talbot says, only two groups have done it. It's us and Alaska. Yeah. Corey's done a great job. Yeah. He's trying to connect it. The same thing with us. We're all trying to get to a certain size. Somebody buys you, and we become part of their pipeline of projects. Yeah. Like Paladin did buying Triple R. They have Langheinrich, then they also have Michelin after that. Yeah. Everybody needs a pipeline.
Yeah, and talking of pipelines, because there's been a few American projects come through this past couple of days as well. So mixed reviews, I think, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are still trying to figure out what does it mean when Donald Trump says this? How does it translate to this?
Yeah.
But the thing is, all the talk from government, all the help won't matter if the cost of production is high. All the money you throw at it doesn't mean, economy will not make up for grade. That's why, in my opinion, Canada is still the best place for uranium. Yeah. And you got to remember, if you look at Arrow, okay, they can crank out 20, 30 million pounds a year. At the best, some of these companies are going to do is 1 million pounds. Okay. Even if every one of them was to produce 1 million, 2 million pounds, let's take 5, that's 10 million. They need 50. So no matter what they do in the U.S., I don't believe they're ever going to be
50 times 3, Jeff. 50 times 3 seems to be the number we're being told.
But exactly. But I'm saying, so even if all these U.S. companies do their thing, right, they still need uranium from Canada. They can't avoid it. They will not be producing 50 million pounds soon.
So that's which I think we're getting to the nub of why you're doing this, which is the fact that the US is not going to be self-sufficient by some distance. Yeah. They're going to need a partner, a friend, and that's going to be the Athabasca plays. It seems if the Canadian government can get out of the way a little bit, they've got to make it
It
the
can't
path
be
forward.
spending 10, 15 years looking at the same rock. If,
Yeah.
if the First Nations people are on side, they've done their work in environmental baselines, it's paperwork. Now, why do you got to wait 2 years for a meeting?
Yeah.
That's how governments are.
But I thought that I saw something. Carney had appointed someone and said, right, we're going to speed things up. It's going to minimum 2-year approval process. You're like,
Yeah. And that's why people go to Namibia. The grades aren't as high, but they can get things done.
3 months.
But the Chinese,
Yeah.
remember, they don't mind losing money
Yeah.
on the mine because they have their own source for what they're doing. For the French did it too. They were producing uranium at $40 at Christensen Ranch
Yeah.
at one time, even though spot price was $7.
Yeah.
47. They were losing money, but they didn't care. They had their own uranium, and they didn't have to go into the market and get it.
Yeah, well, it's a bit more joined up than
Yeah,
than
well,
we're
they're
managing.
fully integrated.
Yeah.
But to me, like I said, Canada's still the best place to be. Kazakhstan's a close game, and we are the right jurisdiction, the right grade, right management team, well funded.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we know that. History says that it's all going to be fine. So good to see you, Dave.
Thank you for
Cheers,
having me.
buddy. Thanks.
Thank you.